This is the
This
greatest
is the
loss of.
greatest loss of military equipment in the history of warfare by one power. And Israeli put this loss of military equipment, the Taliban and Al Qaeda, like this. What America has just given the Taliban is equivalent to 85% of all the military aid Washington has given Israel since 1948. So the U.S. government is so used to burning and wasting American taxpayers' hard-earned money that no one from our government can be even bothered to address the fact that 85 to 90 billion in military equipment has been left to the Taliban and Al Qaeda. So this is larger than the annual military budget for every nation around the world except the U.S. and China. So Jason, the Taliban, thanks to the U.S. government, this year has a larger military budget than Russia, the UK, India, France, and I can go on and on. I just named the major ones. The Taliban now possesses more Black Hawk helicopters than almost all of America's allies. They own near to a tenth of all Humvees on the planet. And that's aside from less obvious things such as 150,000 military radios and around 20,000 night vision goggles. So basically what our special forces use to conduct raids. Pentagon, we can't forget this. Pentagon Press Secretary John Kirby, Admiral Kirby, responded to a video of Taliban fighters inspecting U.S. military equipment at Kabul airport and said that the gear has been demilitarized and rendered unstable. And then further, the Taliban can inspect all they want. They can look at them, they can walk around, but they can't fly them, they can't operate them. We made sure to demilitarize, to make unusable all the gear that is at this airport. And he added that the only items left operable were a couple of fire trucks and some forklifts, so the airport can get back up and running. Well, apparently not, Admiral Kirby. The Taliban have taken to the skies in our Black Hawks. They've ridden into battle against the last holdout for the Taliban in the Panjshir Valley on up-armored Humvees, American up-armored Humvees, with American and NATO weapons. And people aren't talking about it, but the Taliban highly likely got access to the remnants. I don't know to what extent it could have been nearly complete, but of incredibly sensitive, sophisticated intelligence communication systems that cost hundreds of millions of dollars, which I'm sure the Chinese and Russians will pay a pretty penny to study, dissect, and use against us. They'll give Pakistan they'll give Pakistan a free look at it, because Pakistan has been the patron of the Taliban since its inception, and Pakistan will probably in turn share elements of it with Iran and probably and possibly Turkey. The U.S. spent hundreds of millions of dollars towards building data surveillance tools for the Afghan people, but we left the databases with few data protection safeguards, and now they've fallen into Taliban hands who have information, including biometrics for verifying Afghans. There's something called the Afghan Personnel and Pay System that has data on more than 70,000 security forces members. It has more than 40 data fields, which includes phone numbers, birth dates, fathers and grandfathers' names, fingerprints, and iris and face scans. If the Taliban needs to hack the system, Pakistan's intelligence service, the Inter-Services Intelligence, ISI, which can be argued, as I was saying, to be the official founder and supporter and long-term patron of the Taliban, I think could easily provide that kind of technical assistance if needed. Plus, China, Russia, and Iranian intelligence services can certainly and probably will lend a hand, which off-the-record intelligence professionals expect to happen because this will give them a direct look at U.S. technology and cybersecurity architecture. And the Taliban may not even have to hack the personnel and pay system, because the Afghans who we failed to get out and helped us develop the database have surreptitiously communicated that they're being summoned by Taliban leadership ostensibly to provide access to these systems. And there's two more I want to talk about.
John, can we talk about that real quick? If you abandoned me and my wife and my children, my daughters, and the Taliban summons me and says, listen, you have something we need and we'll let your family live and we'll leave your daughter alone. Your daughters, just help us get access to it. What do you think they're going to do? We've betrayed them. We've abandoned them.
Yeah. Wouldn't you think it would be our top priority to get these Afghans out of the country?
You would think.
I mean, and they're I'll just mention it because I know these are a lot of details, but there's another database that was used to vet Afghan security force members that has 8.5 million records. There's another database that has iris scans and fingerprints for 9 million Afghans, which they used for passports and driver's license. There's another database with over 400,000 government employees' information on it. So not only, I think this is the point with all of these things, not only will the Taliban be interested in exploiting this information, Pakistan, China, Russia, Iran, and transnational terrorist organizations will want to know who worked with the Americans. And then they'll seek brutal retribution against them and their families.